Hi everybody, Russ and My Hammers 11. Hope you're safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting that bell icon so you're made aware of any time we put new content on. We'll keep you going during the off season. We'll only have a few more days and then the fixture list will come out and our blind optimism will be dashed because we'll be playing, I don't know, Man United, Liverpool, Man City the first 3 games and then we'll see the last game of the season who we have to beat to stay up. That's what we always do as West Ham fans. Loads of great guests. Obviously, we're doing all the charity stuff coming up soon, so make sure you're watching that. But today's guest, he was one of the original Stop Hammertime podcasters. We've obviously Phil and Jim. It's Pete Ward. Hi, Pete. How are you?
How are you doing, Russ? Yeah, good, thanks.
How's yeah, me too. How's everything been in this sort of weird new world we live in for you?
Well, I can work from home, so personally, it's been fine. In fact, I think we're going to start going back into an office from the end of September, once a week, twice a week, something like that. But we're working from home has been great, actually. I think there's been a lot of positives in the lockdown. Apart from, I was returning to football. I was thinking season restarting, and I thought they should just cancel it. Not because we could have technically stayed up or calm down, depending on the criteria they were using. But I thought it was to try and bring football back to play in empty stadiums. However, I think it's going to be the red for the whole of the season, apart from some experiments with 10% attendance, 20% attendance, maybe 30 as they go along, see what happens to the virus. I think they're pretty much locked into another year of gathering on Zoom calls with some camera, an iPad for the subscription they've got, game together that way. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think it's really weird. Actually, no, I think it's really commendable, actually, how people have just adjusted to not going to see the football, if that makes sense. So like the Zoom parties and as you said, the watch-alongs and, I mean, are you a crowd noise on or a crowd noise off type person?
Well, I've tried both, and I don't like either. I mean, to be honest, the crowd noise on is probably slightly more preferable than the crowd noise off. I mean, with the crowd noise off, although it's quite interesting to sort of hear all the shouting, coaching and stuff. Ultimately, it's like a training ground or a pre-season going. So, I mean, it's the best solution that they can find. Generally, they've done a really good job the way they use the crowd. Quite funny to hear some example.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of go that managed to add in. I mean, it is what it is.
It is indeed. In fact, I was chatting to someone the other day who works for Sky, and he was involved in. Well, he met the guy who came up because I already assumed it was a guy with like, a poor intern with like some buttons.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's done through AI and the Opta stats, and it's done by some clever algorithms and stuff like that. And the only thing that they couldn't figure out was when a team are really, really dominating, and then there's like a breakaway own goal for some reason. Like it couldn't compute. It's like, how can you be so and then concede? It's like, but I thought it was funny actually. The Norwich game, we were 3-0 up at half time when they were booing Norwich off the pitch. It's like, you know your shit. You know your shit when the when the robots are turned against you. It's like it was brilliant. I think it's, or if not, or if it was like some poor guy in like a studio, I would love to have been that bloke at like the Chelsea game and just been like pressing blue flag, blue flag, blue flag, blue all the time and just continually for 90 minutes. No, it's I just think it's really good. I think what they've done is really well. I think they've adapted really well to it all.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive they've done through AI, and all the sounds are taken license from FIFA. So,
yes, so that means it's genuine.
I guess we're just used to it. We adapt. We
do. You have to adjust, unfortunately, and I think we've done. I think everyone's done it quite well, actually, to be honest. And I mean, obviously, the thing that people miss is that human interaction. Which it's going to the pub, it's going to the same place, seeing the same people, and until whenever that will be, everyone's back together. I don't think people are gonna have that same experience, a match day experience. Although you can see it better now, Christ, on your telly, much better than London Stadium, wherever you are, distance London Stadium and stuff. At least you can see what's going on in more detail. But it's not about the football. It's great that we're still in the Premier League, but I think it's all about sort of being together and the West Ham family, the West Ham communities, putting that together, isn't it?
I think what's going to be interesting is next season, kicking off at the empty stadium, probably lasting for quite a while, even if they've got smaller. What impact that's going to have on the teams who are actually, I thought Alfie sort of picked up after when we came back, and obviously it was about winning the games. Chelsea game was a massive amount for us.
Yeah,
we played really well 5 or 6 games, and really gave us a lot of hope going into these season. Obviously, with Jack and Bowen really well, and Antonio playing his sort of best play for us, I think. Certainly that. And Moyes decided to feel whether we're going to kick off the season in the same vein or the same vein that we normally do, which is slow, blah, blah, blah. But there was a lot of really good things at the end of last season for us. Things that settled down. I mean, I'd say keep Rice if they can. If they can keep him for one more year, I think we could have a good year because he really looked a different player. He was not only possession, but he was driving shots. He was scoring goals. He was starting to take a lot. I just hope he kind of around children to play half. That's not his. He can do it.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
We'll see. I think the emergence of someone like Souček as well has meant that Dec doesn't have to. I think he was fantastic all season, but with Souček playing, he almost had that a little bit more license to go forward, and because Souček was there to cover the crop, where it was always always before it was Dec was covering Mark Noble, and now Souček's covering Dec, and it's like, I can come forward a bit, and I just think, we hear him talk in the media and stuff, and he's not well media trained at the moment. So what he says is genuine. So he doesn't look like a person who's going to throw his toys out of a pram if he doesn't go to Chelsea this year. Do you know what I mean? I think
he could do better than Phil.
Yeah, I think he could.
He could go and play for the European side in a season or two. He could have his but I'd say if we keep him, I think we should get the best ground we've got going forward.
Yeah, totally. And I think you're right. And I think personally speaking, I think if he went to Chelsea, I think it's a waste of Declan Rice because clearly Fat Frank has got John Terry stamped on Mark II, sort of stamped on Dec's head. And I think he's wasted as a centre-back. Yeah, I think the position he plays is so difficult to get nowadays. If Fat Frank wanted a centre-back, he could go and buy, I don't know, Koulibaly from Napoli. Or, you can buy good centre-backs pretty much every league. But that role Declan Rice plays, we've seen how much City have struggled when Fernandinho is sort of coming to the end and they can't get that replacement. He'll get wasted, I think, because he'll put him into centre-back, and Dec is a much more effective midfielder. It's this box-to-box midfielder. He just has a role.
Chelsea got Kante and Jorginho. He would be more in the four of us competing for one make place.
Exactly. And so he. Sorry, Carrie, you saying?
I was going to say it depends. 70 or 80 million pounds. Turn it down.
Yeah, exactly. But if Chelsea turned around and went, right, okay, he's 30 million and I know Batshuayi, why Batshuayi, but a couple of players, and we say no, Dec's gonna say, well, he knows his worth. he's a professional. He knows his worth, and if we said no, he's not going to go right. Okay, I'm going to down tools. And too often we've had players like that. People have sniffed around Payet, Arnie, people like that, and as soon as he's been rejected, they throw their toys out, down tools, and Deck doesn't seem that type of bloke. I'd love him to be the next Mark Noble, but and maybe you never know. You never know with someone like Declan.
I mean, he should be. He should be really. I should give him an armband. Moyes was doing that. Obviously, trialing him in that position, and it was obviously helping to keep him retaining as a player. Just to see if he's a leader on it's just a lot of shouting and jeering and stuff. So he's got that in his game, and which is ideal.
No, definitely. I mean, I remember seeing him playing in the under-23s because obviously we do a few of them games at London Stadium like a couple of years ago, and he just looked head and shoulders above everyone in terms of just having that leadership ability, which is so rare for a player, but so rare for such a young player. I mean, as you said, he was captain, and people were, elder statesmen of West Ham, and listen to what he's saying. He's leading them, like Fabianski's 35, and Deck's, relatively spring chicken compared to him, and I just think he's a really, really special player. And you're right, and if he wanted, he hasn't come out and said it, but give him, if they're looking at giving Antonio a pay bump, because he's scored, in the last 6 games. Declan Rice has played every minute of the Premier League, and he's one of 4 people ever to do that. He should be, he should get a pay rise. He should get the captain's armband. It's be a big fish in a small pond, Deck, and hopefully build the team around him.
Yeah, I'm assuming there won't be that much activity. To be honest, maybe 1 or 2 out or 1 or 2 in. Obviously, the ones we want out, the ones that have kind of lost their way like that.
It is, and as long as people buy them, you know what I mean. It's like it's all right trying to get them out. I mean, the issue being is obviously, we want this guy and this guy. They want to, but Anderson, as you said, like 40 million. We're not going to get 40 million for him. We'll get 15. I think we've done all right, in today's market and his value depreciation. And then how's that reinvested?
I think I like him. I think he had a great season, and he wasn't up for the first 2 games. Wasn't really up for it. But I think as a player in a squad, what he can do, not many other players can do stuff like that, like he can.
Oh, definitely.
But I think Lenzi, I think that injury means he needs to move on. He just can't do what he used to do for us, and it's a real shame. And I think really one of the things is the backs, centre back, and the striking department. There's so many midfielders.
Yeah.
It's a really lopsided side.
It is a bit. But the one area which I think maybe we've got another year on them is the goalkeepers. I'm worried about a little bit because just thinking about it now. I mean, Fabianski's 35 now. David Martin's probably mid-30s. Roberto's still hanging about. He was back at training the other day. I saw. And Randall's probably about 32, 33. There's obviously Nathan Trott. I know he went on loan to AFC Wimbledon, but I just think it's an area. Maybe this year we're okay with the season coming, but the season after, I wouldn't fancy going into the season with a 36, 37-year-old as our number 1.
And a fair back. We had quite a few documentaries where he was like 40 every year. There's quite a few goals. I don't know whether that injury sort of like this needs to fully recover from. But I understand what you said about the position we there close to the future. But the intent, without a doubt, we just depend hanging on with as well. 2 centre backs. And Johnson looks good. But Friedrichs, we all like him, but his positional sense pretty poor, and defending isn't great. He does make rash stuff and gets himself out. But the left back is an area that we probably need to look at really seriously. So I really like Kroos, but he needs some proper support. Masuako isn't never has been.
No, it never has been. Yes, I mean, we haven't had a decent let. To be honest, I mean, I think it's one of those things where what I thought was quite interesting was I think it was the last couple of games where it might have been actually just the Villa game actually where Moyes put Ben Johnson at left back, and that was like okay, and you're thinking, well, if that was the plan, or if he was going to, why did we not just give Ngaki that extra money to stay? Because that would have been nice. You'd have had two really young British, youthful wingers, quick fullbacks, and I don't know. There's obviously method in the madness, you would hope, but because obviously Ngaki has done well for himself, having gone to Watford.
I think Johnson played a left back before.
He did, but then he played. Obviously, he's more recognised as a right back, and to be honest, I'm always apprehensive when you play players on the wrong foot. And if he can fill in at left back, but if he's a right back, you're always going to be favouring your right foot. Where left backs, I just think you want to have people who are. It's like wingers. I hate wingers on the wrong side because they always cut in. It's the same thing. But anyway, we can talk about them all the time. We talk about nostalgia. This is what we do. That's all. Phil and Jim can do all that clever stuff. We do the nostalgia. He says after 16 minutes, 17 minutes into the recording, the first question I always ask everyone, Pete, is why is West Ham your club? What's your story to become a West Ham fan?
I grew up in East Ham, so it was only a 25-minute walk to the ground, and my dad took me to the first game, which was a reserve game when I was at Sheffield Wednesday, I think. And Peter Braybrook was making a comeback from an injury in that game. So I clearly written, I like Pete as well. I'm in Bridget. My dad was a West Ham fan. We lived here throughout. I was a kid, and I was infected.
It's true. It is. It's an infection, isn't it? You're right. It just sort of, without knowing about it, you blink, and you've been a season ticket holder for 25 years. It's like, when did that happen? It just gets into your skin, doesn't it? And that's it's an infection. I like that. Maybe we should do a drop-in centre or something to try and redeem. But I know, and obviously since then, as you said, you're a season ticket holder. You obviously did the Stop Hammertime stuff. It just gets into everything you do, doesn't it, West Ham? Really?
Oh, it can ruin your week.
Ruin your week, yeah.
I like it. And who go to football, bad results, put me in a small cell, I can't get out, or I have to put a brave face on it for the rest of the week.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. The amount of times I've had to un-series link match of the day, and then re-series link it when you've had a bit of a run. It's just the whole sort of indignity having to delete it on the Sunday morning. Delete. Delete. Then you want to watch match of the day, Russ? No. We lost to Burnley. It's true. It can ruin you. But you're right. It's one of those really weird things. It's like you've had a really we might have lost to a Burnley, or turned over by someone, and you're right. Next Saturday we're there, blind optimism again. Yeah, that's it. We're going to get a result today. It's because that's the thing with West Ham. They could lose to Burnley and then lose to West Brom or whatever, and then turn over Chelsea the next week. It's just that's why I like being a West Ham fan, because every week is unpredictable.
It is. I'll say apart from City and Liverpool, who we find it very difficult. Well, City we never get anything from, but Liverpool we've held them last season. We beat Chelsea, we beat Man United over the years, and Chelsea, Tottenham.
Yeah,
Arsenal even. Maybe not so often, but I mean, most apart from Liverpool, I'd say we can turn up. And the frustrating thing is play better against a better team. We sink to the standards of the worst teams.
Yeah,
and struggle. But I think it's just quite an effective thing as a football player when you're out there. Team are really good, you try much harder. But if you don't see quite poor and they're trying to play, out and stuff like that, you can't really do it. You can't. It's very hard your authority on the game. But yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. But you're right. I mean, I live for the 3 times a season we turn up, and so and then for that week, all my Tottenham friends or all my Chelsea friends or Man United friends, for that week, I've got bragging rights, and then that's it. For the other 52, 51 weeks of the year, that's it. But it's those three or 4 times a year that they do you proud, and that's what it's about, being a West Ham fan. Now, obviously, what we do, the whole thing of this channel is about my Hammers 11s. Obviously, we've had Phil, we've had Jim, we've had various others on here, and the idea is they give their Hammers 11, so they pick their 11. Now, it could be themed, it could be whatever you want it to be. It's an open brief, which is nice. The only rule is you have to be alive to have seen them play. Now, obviously, for yourself, Pete, we won't beat around the bush. You've got quite a nice spread. We'll say that. You're an experienced fan. That's what I call them, experienced. And so you've got a nice range to pick. So, in terms of your 11, what are we sort of doing? Are we doing your favourite, or are we doing a theme?
And I've gone for Dan's.
Oh, Fancy Dan's.
A ludicrously decided thing. And I wouldn't totally play it in defence. So put in are probably a couple of our best defenders. And there's one position that's quite hard to fill for that. But we'll start with it.
All right.
Because we've always got in the squad, haven't we? I mean, Pellegrini, we had 4 or 5 on the pitch.
Yeah.
And it was maybe 3-2.
Yeah. I love it. All right, we'll start in goal. Then. So that might be the hardest position, I reckon, for you.
It is the hardest. It was the hardest position. But I went back to a very short-lived loan goalkeeper for us, who, when I looked up credentials, actually taller. It's Bernard Lamar.
Oh.
On loan for us, one of Harry's massive, one of his many signings. And I remember him just having that idiosyncratic, unorthodox approach to goalkeeping. I can't quite remember the incident, but there were some pretty strange things. He was a good goalkeeper.
Yeah, he was. And I remember famously, and what I never learned, I never understood. Every game, he would literally, I don't think he'd shower. I think he'd literally jump in his car and drive. And obviously, then his car would inevitably be stuck in Green Street. And he'd always be stuck in literally 3 or 4 times I remember coming out. And Bernard Lamar's 4x4 or whatever car he was driving at the time was stuck in Green Street because everyone just looked in the window and started dancing on the bonnet and stuff. We got Bernard Lamar and I just never understood. Just give it 10 minutes. Give it quarter of an hour, Bernard. Have a wash, have a quick shower, and back you come. But no, it was. You're right. It was that sort of weird period where we had a typical Harry signing, wasn't he? And I think he only sort of joined us for that sort of 6 months to get into the World Cup squad. I remember.
And then we lost.
So yeah,
we got the World Cup squad.
Yeah, and then went to Paris Saint-Germain or something like that.
And they won the World Cup. Nice. He was a good goalkeeper. I think I do remember him point for one game I went to. He was sitting on the ball. It was a classic finish of him. Something happened, maybe he was just sitting there like a park player. But he was probably one of our goalkeepers. Well.
Oh yeah.
Rather than ability, you'll see that there's quite a lot of capability.
Yes, I can imagine. Right, do you want to go through the team as you've got it written down, Pete? So keep it in.
I've had to make room for someone to play in their natural position by playing a fancy Dan out of position at right back. So I've got right. And he is a fancy Dan, isn't he? It's a great step over.
Yeah.
trip up, to confuse defenders and his own teammates and himself. He's a hopeless defender. Signed as, and I think he may have been right back by maybe
Well,
by
I mean,
Billy.
they put. Yeah, I mean,
Right back. We didn't have one. Squad.
maybe. I mean, famously, obviously, everyone Moyes kept on playing him left wing, which
Yeah.
shows you know, you're left back, you're playing left wing. There's something more you know, he's more attack minded than defensive minded, clearly. But
I think that's his best position. I think Moyes spots that. I just think Moyes did a mistake the first time around. Say, Arnie, wherever you want, beat you, and it freed him up. And the other who was played as a midfielder.
yeah,
Midfield player. And actually, he's worth keeping. I think he's really good midfield player, and he's not a player playing on it like on the right, Snodgrass, and you know, well, I'd say his footwork, and he goes in at right back.
yeah, nice.
Going to move across the centre line, and I'm choosing. This might seem quite strange, but it's for something I remember time he came on the pitch. Igor Stimac.
Oh, Igor Stimac.
And it was a pre-match entertainment for the lovely Hammertime. And if you watch Stimac, what he used to do is looking and then nudges it. It was kind of the size of it. He was a pretty old lech.
Yeah, the old man.
He reckoned himself quite a lot. He was quite handy for us. We've gone through a lot of short-term get-ups. Yeah, Harry.
Yeah,
We had loads of centre-halves through. Had Unsworth, Hayden Fox, you know, loads of centre-halves. He came in and did an experienced player. He was a very, of course. I think his attitude gave him then sort of space at the centre half because there aren't many centre halves you could put in that category.
Yeah. Right, Igor's in. Igor is in. Love this. Who's next then, Pete?
Playing alongside him. Now, he's not really a fancy Dan, but he had everything about Bobby. He had all the attributes of a fancy Dan. He didn't need to do it. Being one of the world's best defenders by reading the game, knowing when to put it in, and as we all know, he was class above everyone else. And I think as a skilled player, he could do everything he wants. But he kept it simple. He didn't really do anything. But he could pick apart like many other. Like there's not many other you can say pick a player out like Bobby.
Definitely.
And over on the left.
Yes, let's go for it.
Julian, because he was a true fancy Dan, wasn't he? For the left back, you never be able to see them.
Yeah.
You know, the flick over the flick over defender.
Yeah.
Skills that he had were just out of this world. That'd be quite an interesting.
Yes, too right. Yeah, sort of a mix of mix of cultures between Bobby Moore and Julian Dix playing. But yeah, it's something I think that they would complement each other in the sort of opposites attract type. You'd still have this tremendous skill and respect, but obviously Julian, if anyone tried anything on Bobby, would be right in there. So I get that. And you're right. He had a fantastic skill for a left back, well beyond his position, really. He's obviously. I remember someone mentioned it the other day, actually, when I think it was against Man United, where he did that sort of flick over and he flicked it over Cantona or something like that, and Cantona just nodded, in appreciation, and that itself gets him into your fancy Dan 11 because of that, because he's got Cantona's approval. So there we go, probably the fanciest Dan there is. But right, okay, that's Julian. Who's next, MP?
So I'm going into midfield now. The rest of the team are, I mean, this would be the most attacking team ever seen play. And it reminds me of the time Pelic did it, and even when things were going bad, we'd only put on substitutes, which I like.
Yeah.
And you're either going to get a point from being 2 down, 3 down, or you're just going to go for a victory, or you just want to do 4-0. 20 minutes to go. Why not have 5?
Yeah.
It certainly scared the opposition. So in the centre of the field, I've got Joe. Because he's a terrific player in his first spell. Not so much so when he lost his pace, but he really paid anyway. He kind of wasn't in such good condition to turn around. But he did create some really good goals. I think there was a game on that where he scored goals.
Yeah.
Quite a bit against you. It's a televised game.
Could have been.
But Joe, he was a trick pony, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Kind of everything about what he, but he had more than that. He did go on to play England, Chelsea, and unfortunately, I think Mourinho went solidly. He did bigger squad, and he wasn't the number one very quickly. He got a couple of injuries and stuff. When he went to ruined him. He was lost. When he was probably under Julio was a support player.
Could have been.
But Joe's had some tremendous visionary sort of ability and the things he could do. So he beat through our midfield.
Yeah.
And alongside it, Dale Gordon. Just for the step over, nothing else.
I've got to type that in him, Pete. God dear, that's a new one. Although famously, he did score our first ever Premier League goal, didn't he, Dale Gordon?
Yes, he did. Did he score many others?
I think that was the only goal he scored. I think it's the only goal he scored for us.
He had an injury. He never came back. He was with the club for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
He just had one injury after another. There was a lot of managerial change. But I think the pencil was started. The used Swiss Tony look and the dependency at any opportunity. I think he was good comedy as well. He was a bit of a joke. He didn't do it for us. In the mix. He's in the mix. So it's a really, really bizarre thing. I wouldn't fancy our chances.
We'd be, as they say, we'd be first on match of the day. Not necessarily for good reasons.
We'd be winning. Like one of ours. There'll be 7 or 8 goals every game.
Yeah.
All go for a goal.
Get the odd one, yeah, depends.
Next up is Trev. Because he like Bobby,
yeah.
But Trevor could do just glide along. Cliche silky skills, but his distribution were just amazing.
Yeah,
probably never be repeated. So I don't Trevor up at midfield. Alongside Joe Cole. Take the weight off of what Dale Gordon could. Dale Gordon could fit in as a midfielder.
Oh Christ, jeez.
So going forward, this is the most exciting front three in any. Unfortunately, there's good. There is 10, 15 years between them. Actually. So fade him out on the right. Or you can go on the left and go wherever.
Yeah.
Because what a shame it didn't work. Such a prick. um, but I was, just now, I just think every 25 yards out, it was a 50 goal opportunity. And I remember most things at that game in my first season at the stadium, crappy seat high up, was that middle where he left their backsides.
Yeah.
Managed to do
twice.
180 degrees into the corner. It was just a top goal, one of the best scored for us. And what an ego! Just like Arnie. And my next player, I centre forward, to meet you,
oh, could you imagine them two together?
Yeah. Not many high balls.
Play on the floor, yeah.
Again, just one of my favourite players of all time. Yeah. Just for a running, he didn't actually just the way he would run the ball around and around to anybody on the opposition, and knock it off through and go hammer it home. He was. He's in our fanciest.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And he was like, and he'd always do the same move all the time, and every defender would, he was going to run, and he was going to chop, stop, turn, but he did it and like he used to do this sort of fake back heel, and it was like the most bizarre back, and it was like his foot was 2 foot above the ball, and he just like gestured, and everyone fell for it, and he was mesmeric, and obviously it's the stories that go with him. It's not just Paolo the player, but it's Paolo the man, and doing this thing. I mean, we've had 140 odd guests, 145 guests, something like that. And when Paolo's picked, they all have a little story and about a memory or something like that. And some of them are brilliant, absolutely priceless. And you have this love for this man even more than just seeing him on the pitch. He loved the club. He still loves the club as well. And it's lovely to see someone who's not from round here have this sort of affection with the fans, and he still has. And all right, Paolo's in. He's the fanciest Dan, isn't he? I'm not being funny.
He is. I wonder how many cards he got to take his shirt off the goal because he did it nearly every time.
He'd barely play in the Premier League nowadays, wouldn't he? So thinking about it, and obviously, he was in a soap commercial, so he must be a fancy Dan.
He is. And then to play the team, I've got Carlos Tevez in.
Oh, Carlitos.
So I just actually at the front. I'm watching actually not thankfully for the last 30 years of seasons. During the lockdown, I was myself with the lack of proper football action by working my way through. I'm up to season 2008 now, 2017. The Tevez had gone. Yeah. But I clearly remember because he played quite Kirbishy started after not picking. He played long games. Was it in the paper? He's trying his heart out. Anybody else? He took that goal, free kick against Top, to break his stuff. Broke the sea for us to overcome the relegation threat and go on to win four out of our 5 last away games, wasn't it? To stay up, 2007. Yeah, when he took over the Barges, 06, 07. But Tevez, Di Canio, and Payet together up front would be mad. It would be we probably wouldn't score too many chances, because they'd all be jumping over the ball and throwing dummies and stuff like that, and we'd be beat on the counter attack. But it'd be a sight to be seen.
It would just stay outside the box, wouldn't it? That sort of little bit. Him and Payet and Di Canio and Tevez just doing their little bits, and no one's running forward, or it's like, come on. It's like, no, we've got to just keep beating another man and stuff. But yeah, it's it would have been, as you said, very, very entertaining, very, very Redknapp-esque, wouldn't it? Really.
Well, I was thinking of Harry should be the manager of this team. To be honest, if it was a fancy dad who managed us, it was Harry, wasn't it?
Yeah,
before I sort of put this together, I did go through this. There's a website called worldfootball.com, and you can go through all your squads through the ages. And I kind of spent an hour I was looking for the centre backs and centre halves and fullbacks to put in. I was really struggling with that from recent years. And when you look at the number of players who are registered in our squad, so it goes like from the Ron Greenwood years, Lyle, Macari, and even Billy Bonds and stuff. It's like 22, 23 players, basically. Maybe some fringe players, but it's only 22, 23 players we use. And in the Harry seasons, it just went up exponentially. I think we had like 37. And I think one season we had 5 goalkeepers on the books. 5 goalkeepers, and we were just collecting players just for the sake of it. I mean, his undoing obviously was when he sold Rio and then signed 5 terrible players: Daly, Mara, Song, Todorov. It just got worse and worse and worse. Although I like Todorov, and Stimac was one of those as well. He signed hundreds of players. None of whom were much good. It just didn't work out. They're all journeymen. Harry doesn't like it. He can't spot a young up and coming player. He can't coach them. He can't see someone think, "Oh, I'll bring him here. I'll make him into a really good player in my team." He hasn't got that ability. He's like a movie mogul, isn't he? Trying to cast a film. There are those movies with about 15 actors across the bottom, all the biggest actors in the world, and the films.
Yeah.
Films are always awful, but they sell it literally on the cast, and that's how they raise the money. And
he's the Ocean's 11, isn't he? He's the Ocean's 11 of a director of the Premier League. Yeah, I know what you mean. It was like when I was playing. We used to play Championship Manager as a kid, and when it came to like the off season, you did a Harry Redknapp, and you say, "Oh, who's available?" A free transfer, and they might be like fun, but you get them for the Rob Lees of this world, and you'd get them all in your team, and they'd play like 3 games in the cup, and that's it, and then they get injured. But Pete, it's been lovely. It's been lovely to watch you. Thank you so much for all the research as well that's been going on. I really appreciate all the research. It's fantastic, and obviously thank you to everyone for watching as well. Share, subscribe, like, all that type of stuff. And until next time, for me and Pete, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Come in your irons, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. See ya. Bye-bye.